marketing report, it's very common for us to go in the typical path, which is the introduction and then the internal, external analysis, looking at the objectives, thinking about the segmentation, targeting, positioning, move on to the marketing mix, then the budget, and then the KPIs. But some of us tend to forget the purpose of the marketing report in the first place. We prepare a marketing report for a product that we choose, or we are given by, okay, if you're studying, we are given by the teacher, right? The topic, oh, when you're in industry, we have kind of a product to focus on. But when we plan on the product, there are things that matter before you start thinking about applying the theories, principles, and the formulas. A marketing report has to be a living one, something that breathes, not some, an analytical exercise in sort of, kind of showing your capacities in different types of principles. A marketing report has to have an excellent connectivity, a linkage between one and the other, and there should be a specific purpose in the marketing report. Now, just take this entire video is for that particular purpose, right? You can prepare a marketing report, a really good one, without overthinking, literally, about different principles. If you start thinking in a proper way, or rather right way, the ideal way, the principles will come into place, rather than the opposite way, where you just keep on pumping the principles without thinking of the big picture. Take a look at Dilmah. When Dilmah focus on it's pretty good in Europe, Dilmah, right? Has captured a big amount of Eastern and Western markets, Eastern Europe as well as Western Europe. So they need to think about the size, potential for growth, what kind of market insights are there for them to look at. So that's what they have to look at. So what does come here? So here there may be internal analysis, external analysis, something to be added in the introduction, and some of it might even come in, okay, marketing mix. But rather than looking at the theory angle, think of this aspect. We cannot plan on a marketing report without thinking of these things. Yeah, what could be the strategy? What is the objective overall? What's the target market? How are you going to reach that particular market? Think about it without thinking about specific principles. Some of us tend to, okay, apply, write SWOT and then think about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats somehow to fill up. But that's not the way, right? In a living and breathing marketing report, we should think independent of the SWOT. And then when we plan on it, SWOT will automatically come, right? It's that. Role of marketing is all about that. Imagine Sparcelon, right? They've reached East and West, different sides of across the Atlantic into the Asias, right? A very successful product in terms of capacity, and given the time that they took, they had a really good understanding about the consumer behavior, needs, changes, and the cultural nuances of, we look to the East now for more, organic content, more ethical content, more ethnic orientation and that has captured the hearts of the perfume industry to a certain extent, and Sparcelon is riding the wave. So how did they find it out? Market research, understand the consumer insights in different, the places across the border. So it's that. So where would it come in your marketing report? It might be strengths of the company. It could be opportunities that they have. It could be the pestle, right? Social and economic, that kind of aspects. And then in marketing mix, you might as well put it in, okay, product, place, promotion. It will go all over the place, and people as well, right? So the core is the thinking about the consumer behavior and the preferences and, okay, the cultural nuances. You have to think it through thoroughly before you move into application of theories. Social and ethical considerations play a massive role in the modern marketing plan because of the world as it is, the climate change and the global warming, the damage to the environment taken into account, and the immense interest that the customers have with regard to whether their product is ethical in terms of manufacturing, sales, and all that. So, whatever the product we go for, think in that element also, right? Social values. So normally when we do the pestle, the environment plays a very much of a lesser interest into our minds. When it comes to marketing mix, the people factor, the process, right? In the 7P does not get much interest in it from us. And even when we set the objectives, we tend to think less about it. So, but remember, in the modern world of highly, rather complex and, challenging business plays, culture, social issues, ethical factors play a role, and that should be touched right down from introduction itself. Obvious things, the competitive advantages. How are we going to position ourselves? But look at it in a different way rather than just typing something in segmentation, targeting, positioning. No, very, very rarely we see a solid STP in a report, almost kind of 1 in 100 like, because the way we approach is different. We have to look at how are we going to do it in a realistic sense? How are we going to be different? How are we going to set our, kind of an identity strong? And how are we going to, get adapted or get ourselves into the marketplace? That's how we have to think about segmentation, targeting, and positioning, not just the other way around, right? Think of the market, then STP will automatically come into place. Social responsibility, what are we doing? Sustainability, how is it happening? Like Sri Lankan apparel, right? Apparel without guilt. It's one of the biggest brands for Sri Lanka, literally, right? Our garment industry is way ahead of its competition in India or Bangla or even to a certain extent Vietnam, because our manufacturing happens in a pretty higher degree of ethical aspects taken into account, not just for apparel, everything else. The buyer who pays a premium price needs to look at this angle. He needs to see where the source is coming, right? The original source is a key thing, and how many hands the product goes through, and how ethical the company has been taking care of them. So where are we going to put them in the, report? It should be coming up in the, introduction itself. It can be a strength of the company. It could definitely be, an aspect as a competitive, what you call in the competitive analysis, as a key strength of key analytical factor that make the company or the brand stay ahead of the competition. So multiple things are there, where theories are there, where this factor, sustainability, CSR matters. So write a lot on it because the world needs it at the moment. And when a marker at an evaluation or a senior management, when they see your report in kind of in a boardroom setting, they look at that because that's exactly what the customer wants. A business leader or senior management is not into the sort pestle and other stuff. That's what we teach our students. But when they see your products, what they see in them, what they want to see in them is a solution, right? Solutions are not theories. Solutions are the realistic challenges the product may have in a foreign market and your ideas for it. So when you bring those ideas, yeah, there you may apply theories, but don't just do it for the sake of theories. How are you going to reach the market? Sri Lanka has had a hugely popular branding for such a long time as the cinnamon island. And now, spices are pretty much popular the world over, right? In the restauranting industry, tourism industry, etc., etc. But how are we to reach the market? Which way to go? Things like cinnamon, right? Pretty much private, pretty much exclusive, kind of hands-on, very one-to-one. So the smaller players have a higher advantage than the bigger players. So what would it be? Can we franchise? Joint ventures, would they work? Sometimes. Licensing, I don't think a local product can be, natural product can be licensed. So think a lot about it. Or plain exporting, we may have to go for a cheaper option here, right? So that's how you think at options available depending on the product we have at our hand. Not every product suits, uh, exporting. Not every product would work on joint ventures. So understanding deep on the product as well as the segment we are reaching is crucial in deciding how are we going to reach it. Penetration strategy. Laws matter, politics matter. Something like the freshwater fish, some countries don't allow it to be imported because of, okay, it's a foreign organism being brought to their own country. Some countries are lax, some countries are tough. So the rules, regulations matter a lot. So just because we have a principle does not mean that we can apply that principle in every single product. So yet again, the tariffs, right? And we do have issues of, the ornamental fish exporter has to make sure that the fish is live at the, not just the point of boarding it onto the plane, we basically transport them through the air freight, right? Air cargo. And he needs to ensure that the fish reaches the foreign aquarium alive also. So it's a different product. So each product has this kind of different issues. Some products have extremely shallow or short shelf life, such as coconut milk, or other things like even kurumba tambilis. You just have to know the product very, very deep before you start writing onto that. And the technological change, the aspects of digital marketing. You just can't just say, right, all right, now a whole world is doing online promotion, so we're also going to do it. No, there should be a reason for it. There should be an applicability of digital marketing or the digital sphere or the technological aspects, like all that comes up with the the online marketing, um, which is relevant to the product. You can't just take it for granted. Different products will kind of respond differently. So it doesn't become a panacea for everything, or kind of a recipe for everything. No, it doesn't work that way. So again, the research is thoroughly needed. Yeah, how are we going to check how our product is performing well? We call it the KPIs. 99.9% of the reports that we see inside the industry or even inside a classroom at the graduate level have literally not really connected KPIs. They're just KPIs for the sake of putting them. That's a bad idea. Understand how you're going to check it out. For example, take foliage, flowers. What should be the KPI, key performance indicator? I think customer loyalty will play a huge role because the customer comes to you one and maybe revisiting again. How about the market share? I really doubt whether that will play a kind of a role. So, the return on investment, doubtful. It's a long-term relationship development we need in this kind of highly fragile exports. So that understanding is a must before we determine on a couple of KPIs. You don't need 5 or 10 KPIs. Just 2 or 3 KPIs will do with valid, solid, highly provable reasons. So that's literally marketing role in international business strategy in a nutshell. So develop the story first before you put, your ideas into, the Word document. So the picture, the overall sort of a story that you develop is exactly what the person in the senior management expects to read, and is exactly what your evaluator at a graduate learning module wants to see. Not just the technical one, theories added up one after the other after the other. Hope this lesson would have been helpful, and catch you in another lesson.